The world you see is not the real world. The creator God of religion, who takes credit for making the material world, tells us, "Thus saith the Lord, I love you, and so I want you to die slowly of starvation, little child, or have your body blown to pieces in endless wars. I want you to suffer the emotional agony of losing a child or being hooked on fentanyl, which destroys your life until it kills you. I want you to experience what it's like to be sacrificed in a satanic ritual. I want you to experience being the abuser and the abused so your soul can evolve by continually returning to a 3D world. Oh yes, and after learning these lessons, I will wipe your memories of all the previous ones, so you have to learn them all over, again and again. If this is the real God, then God is cruel indeed. The good news is this: God did not create such a world, and this world that we see is nothing like what we think it is. It's been known since ancient times that the world is encoded with particular geometrical codes and sequences. Initiates of this knowledge encoded their major buildings, such as churches and temples, with the same proportions, including pi, golden mean, golden ratio, and golden section. Collectively, they are called divine proportion. They are not divine. They are the simulation. Characters in computer games are encoded with the same physics, maths, and rules as the rest of the game, and the simulation is the same. The human body is an extension of the game, with the same characteristics because it is part of the game.
The world that we see with the physical eyes is a dream. That everything we see here is not necessarily a place, that is the planet or the world or this realm that we live in. It's not a place. It's a state of consciousness. You are always and only looking at a reflection of your own inner experience. You are only seeing yourself, you're only experiencing yourself, and you've never experienced anything else. The whole show of material existence as far as an outer objective world is an illusion. It's a dream, dear ones, just like the dreams you have at night. The dreams you have at night, they come and they go, but your consciousness, that is your pure expanded awareness, exists eternally, and it is your real identity and your true self. So the true goal of the mystic quest is not to discover anything about this outer world. No, these again are just mirages, reflections that come and go in our awareness. The true mystic quest is to discover the seer of the material world, that is the witness, the consciousness of you. Unless you know your true self, then you know nothing at all. And once you discover your true self, then all of these things are revealed to be the illusions that they truly are. What drew us to the Matrix was the philosophy behind the Matrix, which actually demonstrates the false reality of the construct in which we find ourselves. In fact, the Illuminati card said this, that the flat earthers were on to something. The flat earthers were on to something. But it didn't say that the flat earthers were exactly right. They also discovered that everything we've been told about space is based on a lie. We found astronauts hanging from strings. We discovered the fake moon landings, and we discovered the fake rocket ships going into space and the fake satellites hanging on balloons. So we started discovering, why are they lying to us about our cosmology? And so the flat earthers, they stopped with flat earth. They didn't go any deeper. They didn't go any further into what was really being presented here. Yes, everything we've been told is a lie. The flat earth movement got that, that's for sure. But what they don't realize is that the earth, what we call the world or the universe itself, is not a place. It's a state of consciousness. This entire realm is a state of consciousness. And of course, as a state of consciousness, it is no more real than the dreams you have at night. So we live in an illusion, dear ones. And of course, this illusion is a trap. It's a trap, perhaps because it's a test, that we are actually here to awaken ourselves back to God. And in order to do that, we have to figure out how to get off the wheel of the cycles of birth and death. We live in a simulation, a matrix. And it's not some computer simulation. No, dear ones, it's more advanced than that. It's a psychic simulation. We live in a 3D projected astral domain. Everything here is a projection from astral light. The astral dream is what we're looking at here, dear ones. It's way more mysterious than the earth being flat or round. The machine that is consuming us, the great eater of life, that Saturn matrix, Kronos, which eats its children, is depicted on the wheel of samsara. Now, the Buddhist wheel of the cycles of birth and death is the machine that keeps souls reincarnating again and again, that is, divine sparks trapped within the matrix, within the machine, reincarnating over and over until you get off the wheel. What put us on this wheel? How in the world did these beautiful divine sparks come to know itself on this wheel of samsara through the cycles of death and birth, the cycles of suffering, pain, old age, sickness, and death? Trapped. And the goal of life is to escape the wheel of samsara and to awaken. What we perceive as a physical world is nothing but a projection of astral light. The astral light that projects this world just like a movie image on a movie theater screen. The image is just the form, the picture. That's the world, the trees, the sun, the moon. All of these are just images within our consciousness. And dear one, the consciousness itself is the light in the projector that's projecting this world, and it's coming from the astral light. And the goal of the spiritual quest is to free the soul, that is your awareness, from the mind, so that you can go back up into spiritual realities. And then the lower worlds, that is the mental and astral planes within your consciousness, become servants to you. You see how it's inverted? The mental and the causal and the astral planes has us imprisoned until we free our mind from the causal plane. Once our mind is free from the causal plane, now the mental and astral worlds become servants to us. And we become a director of our own spiritual journey. The lower worlds are an illusion, a dream. The higher worlds are pure crystal, divine, spiritual. And they are real, beloved. They are called the real worlds for a reason. You'll find that there's a higher aeons and the lower aeons. The lower aeons is a reflection, dear one. That's why I say this world below, the dimensions we perceive to be reality, the matrix, is a copy. It's a copy or a reflection. It's a reflection of a reflection 4 times removed. So for all you that are still teaching that there's a creator God making all this and that he loves you and so he sends you down to suffer, to die, to be sacrificed on satanic altars, to be killed in a car wreck, to watch your children die from this and that. No, dear ones, God did not create a world for you to come and suffer and die. This is a fall. It's a fallen world, dear ones. This is a bad copy that we're experiencing here. In fact, the lower worlds are governed by the archons. And these archonic forces govern the lower worlds, and they're all about materialism and control. And this is where the psyche, or the divine spark, is trapped here in these lower worlds. The upper aeons, called the Plamora, this is the true worlds. This is the whole goal is to awaken back to the real world. That's it. Everything else he must consider as false. That's why you can't run around here and fall in love with nature and all this, because when you do, you're falling in love with a reflection of a reflection 4 times removed from prime creation. Beloved, you got to get back to prime creator. When you hear people talking about creator and creation, ask them, are you talking about the prime creator, or are you talking about the lesser emanations on that Kabbalistic tree of life? And in most cases, you'll find that people that are teaching this are talking about the lesser creations of the material world. And so once you awaken out of Cal's domain, that is beyond universal mind, and you wake up from the form, that is the appearance here in the worlds below, you get out of the world of time. And when you escape time and space, you get off the wheel of samsara. You see, everything in this world below, in the physical, astral, and causal planes, traps the soul on the cycles of birth and death and keeps them on that wheel of reincarnation. And as long as you do this, the machine eats you as food. You become food, or louche, for the archonic forces. Yes, this is what's going on. When I told you, we live in a matrix, just like the movie The Matrix. There's agents here in the matrix, and most of them are working for the demiurge. They're teaching that this is the true creation, when actually, beyond the stars, beyond the firmament, beyond the universe, is the true prime creation that we must find our way back home to. In the material 3D world, you have the matrix. The body's eyes was made not to see. So you're living in the illusion of human perception. Human perception is a lie. Everything you see in this world is an illusion, a dream. And of course, as you raise your consciousness out of the decoded simulation of the human world, you enter into the astral simulation, which is still part of the simulation. This is where the reincarnation cycle and the trap originates. So we want to get out of the astral plane. Of course, the causal plane also has this deception within it as well. So you want to raise your consciousness beyond the causal, that is the mental plane, and enter into the dimension beyond infinity and outside the simulation itself. Lower worlds is governed by a false creative power. That the lower worlds is a bad copy, a reflection of a reflection 4 times removed. My goal is to free the divine spark, dear one. My goal is to awaken the divine spark within myself.